Struggling to come to grips with reality. Confusion and chaos have become part of me. I seek answers to know where my liberation lies. Only in peace and calmness does that clarity arise. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. So many voices, so many interpretations. No answers given, only outer temptations. Where can I find that truth inside of me? Realization of what I am is all I'm wanting to see. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. No more redirection, ending the contemplation. Forget fighting reflection, outer worlds of projection. Internal is the cause, external's an effect, put it on pause. I'm silencing the noise, centering, entering void. Truth is beautifully subtle, the voice without a voice. Heart and mind shall settle, making decisions now, escaping illusions of choice. Transmissions of wisdom bring me insights of reason. Let my mind expand to the higher states. My mortality is no longer at stake. Let me hear the wisdom transmission. The wisdom transmissions.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Wisdom Nexus. Good to be with all of you today. So today we're going to be doing a tarot reading, a tarot Zodiac spread. Gotta make sure I find my words. A tarot Zodiac spread today on 2026 Momenturm. And then after that, we're going to be taking some questions from the audience again. So if you guys are interested in doing a personal reading, a single question, personal reading by donation, you can feel free to leave a donation in the YouTube super chat, and those people that do will be in priority sequence. All right. So before we get started today, just the announcement of the remote source bed kit. This is now available on AetherX.co. I am currently putting together also the second product, which will be the Source Deck Energy set. That will be coming here within about the next week or so. So that is going to be unveiling. But this is the world's first virtual healing system for your bed, couch, and recliner. So the remote source bed kit is a digital download. You would download it. Actually, I forgot to remove the promo code. We don't have the promo code anymore. So I would say probably to ignore that. But anyways, you can check it out now. It is for instant download at AetherX.co. And again, I am still doing 30-minute sessions through Adronis Patreon, okay? So you can go to patreon.com/Adronis and you can sign up there. I have 2 tiers that are available. The first one is the $25 per month tier. That is for our classroom and access to the Patreon archive, as there's a lot of videos, a lot of content there. And then there's the second tier, which is $99 per month, and that is for a 30-minute private session every single month, plus everything that I just mentioned. Okay, so being part of the weekly class, also accessing all of the content on the Patreon, and of course having that 30-minute private session. So if you want to check that out, just go to patreon.com/Adronis, okay? And you can check that out. Now, some people may have a hard time spelling Adronis because I've had a lot of people spelling Adronis differently throughout the years. So it's ADRONIS, okay? Adronis. Patreon.com/Adronis. All right, let's go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So I have a second camera here where I'm going to be looking into 2026 momentum. So again, we've talked quite a bit, especially over the past several months, about 2026 and the momentum, as I've called it, the year of revolution. But we're going to see exactly, just on a global level, we're looking at this worldwide, okay? But looking at a global level about how things are continuing to shape up for the year of 2026, what is in store for the people of the planet, and that's really what the focus will be. What will be in store for the people of the planet for the year of 2026 as we continue to move through it. It's already been a very, very interesting 2026, and we're just a little over a month through it so far. So let's go ahead and see what the people of the planet Earth can be expecting momentum-wise for the remainder of 2026 as we move forward. Here we go. So I'm just going to make sure I get the cards positioned properly here. So this is the first house, which is Aries. Second house, which is Taurus. Third house, Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. Fifth house, Leo. Sixth house, Virgo. So I'm trying to get, okay, yeah, that looks good. Seventh house, Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th house, Capricorn. 11th house, Aquarius. And 12th house, Pisces. All right, so we go for the 13th card now, which is the general reaction of everything taking place. And we have the Emperor. Very interesting. Okay, so let's start to sort this out a little bit. Let me move that out a little bit more here. There we go. Okay, so taking a look at the momentum ahead for 2026. And this is, again, how it's affecting the people, how it's affecting everybody across the planet. So in Aries, we have the 7 of Cups. So 7 of Cups, mixed emotions, stirred emotions, right? It's cups. So cups deal with emotions. And there's the 7 energy as well, too. Now, 7 also represents introspection. It means going within. It means looking inside yourself, because the external is not giving you enough information, right? You're just seeing a bunch of things and you don't really know where to turn. So whenever you get the 7 of Cups, that's telling you, hey, it's time to stop relying on what you're seeing externally. It's time to look inside yourself to make a decision, because all you're seeing here are just external possibilities, getting confused by what's happening, and the only answer is your own inner clarity, okay? So this is basically what I could say for Aries as well, too. Aries can represent the whole body. Aries can represent the entire soul, so it can represent the collective of humanity. So much is going on, people don't really know how to interpret it, right? So much is happening that people are getting ultimately confused about what the agenda is anymore. There's been earthquakes, there's been floods, there's been fires, there's been protests, there's been there's been apprehensions, there's been all of these things happening, and people are still losing track on what all of these agendas represent and what is going on right now. So that is really what Aries is ultimately saying, is that people right now are in a state of mass confusion. And of course, that is to be expected with 2026. But also it's telling us that with inner clarity, you will see exactly what is taking place. Okay, and it's like I said, this is a year of revolution. This is a year of cleanup. This is a year of transformation, great transformation. This is the year of breaking through barriers. This is the year of the fire horse, just knocking down walls, right? So we have the first house here, which represents Aries, and it is aspecting all the way across the other side of the deck with the seventh house, which is Libra, okay? So Libra can represent relationships, it can represent balance, it can represent, in that sense, attempting to adjust the scales. It can represent controversy, it can represent what's happening, you know, in the public eye with things, okay? And this is what's really happening, is there is so much massive cleanup taking place that it looks chaotic, right? There's so much shifting taking place all around the world with so many different countries. Everything is basically attempting to balance itself out. But because we have experienced chaotic situations, the balance needs to come through that state of chaos. So, confusion happening because there's so much chaotic tension. There's so much pressure happening right now across the world, across the planet, about leaders wanting to stand up and other leaders wanting to take siege on other nations, or taking siege upon lands. Again, if we're looking at Greenland being in the middle of that, right? There's a lot of, I guess you could say, tomfoolery, shenanigans taking place. So with the first house and the seventh house that is mirroring each other here in that way, we're going to see a lot of this in 2026. More and more intense events. You know, is the alliances prevailing here? Are we seeing much more of the cartels and cabals standing up and being victorious? Well, no, you're definitely not seeing the cartels and the cabals being victorious. You're seeing them being taken down, as I've talked about many times before. So with these two aspecting each other, it's confusing times, but everything is going to be balancing itself out. But it balances itself out through this chaotic nature, with everything basically happening at once. With, again, like I said, people having enough of the rhetoric, standing up for themselves, taking their power back, going out into the streets, seeing the states of revolution coming together. Revolution is not just the idea of people going out in the streets. Revolution can represent the idea that a lot of these rigid systems are going to be having some of the worst times of their life throughout this year, right? We're looking at the idea of the petro industry having a very difficult time, mainstream media having a very difficult time, big tech having a very, very difficult time this year. It is also a year of deflation, not inflation. Okay, so we're going to be seeing that unfold. Now that we're here in February, we're actually starting to see the actual year unfold. Even when we looked at January, when we're looking at the nature of Chinese astrology, we still haven't even really seen the year unfold yet. We're now just starting to see 2026 unfold. Even January would be much more of the 2025 energy. And now that we're here in February, we're now seeing much more of the starting of 2026 unfold, because the Chinese New Year actually doesn't begin until February, right? So when we're looking at the fire horse, we actually start to see things revving up in February. That's what we're seeing right now. Okay, moving on to the second card here, which is Taurus. Okay, so Taurus is strength, but Taurus also represents security, stability. It does represent speech. It does represent making deals as well, too. It's kind of like the businessman, right? The businesswoman, the businessman. But there's strength here, and that is aspecting together with Scorpio, okay? So strength here, to me, feels like the people, okay? Because this is, again, how 2026 momentum is affecting the people. And how it's affecting the people would represent the idea of, again, this strength card where people are now standing up. They've had enough. They're done. The old gaslighting, right? And the old psychology of trying to get people to become afraid for standing up is now falling away. All of that is crumbling down. So again, we're going to see a lot more nations, a lot more countries standing up, right? Saying we've had enough. We're tired of all of this hyperinflation. We're tired of all these rules and regulations that are keeping us down. It's now time to take action. Okay, so we're seeing the idea of strength, and it's kind of like there's that strength side, and we see that kind of yellow goldish background that represents a lot of positivity. That's representing a new dawn. That's representing a new era. That represents very powerful strength to the people. Okay, the strength, the security, the stability to which Taurus represents is very, very strong, right? Being grounded in our ways. Taurus is all about that. Taurus is all about the idea of sticking with a path and walking with it to the letter. And that's what we're doing here. So people are standing up. And like I said, once the people start waking up and start taking over, right, things are going to change dramatically. And a lot of the old status quo representing these corrupt ones, these politicians, these big tech CEOs, etc., if they don't get in line with the people, they are going to fail and they are going to fall. And it's like I've said, so many other broadcasts, not a single stone is going to be left unturned. Okay, so what are the people going to be like in 2026? Standoffish, aggressive, strong, courageous, working together, standing up for a common cause, seeing all of that unfold city to city across many different countries. Okay, so this can represent the idea of large protests, large gatherings, okay, going across cities and watching thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people, all standing together, united for a common cause. That's Taurus, okay, that's the second house. And this is aspecting with Scorpio, okay, so Scorpio here is depicted as the King of Cups. That means emotions are running high for world leaders, okay. The emotions are running very, very high, and they are not going to be able to ignore it, right? They either change with the transformation that's taking place for humanity, or they are not going to be leaders anymore. So when we're looking at the King of Cups, again, that is, again, the king of emotions. The emotions is that they lead by their gut, they lead by intuition, they lead by instinct. But what I'm saying here with Scorpio is Scorpio represents significant change. It can also represent the idea of death, right? Scorpio can be the sign of death, the sign of change, the sign of great transformation, is that we're going to be seeing quite a bit of these leaders being pulled off their high horse, pulled off their thrones, right? So again, I've talked about this previously, is that we're going to see a lot of culling this year when it comes to leadership. So again, more scandals, more secrecies coming into the light, and seeing a lot of these people losing their power, and basically people demanding that they're taken out of office. So that is what's going to be taking place here. The courage for people to stand up, to say, hey, we want change. If this person is not going to bring change to us, they're out of here. And we're going to make sure that they're out of here. So again, standing very, very strong. Going to the third house now, this is Gemini, okay? And Gemini is all about communication, okay? It's communication, it's digging. There's also investigation that comes together with Gemini. Communication, expression, investigation, okay? Geminis are very, very good at digging towards the truth. They stand in the truth as well, too. So when we look at the world, that means that we're going to be seeing some major turnaround this year. We're seeing major shifts. Everything that we have been asking for, communicating for, expressing for, is now starting to come into fruition. And through all of the communication, all the expression, everything that we've wanted to bring about into this world where we know that it is unjust, we're now looking at Sagittarius, to which it is aspecting with, which is the ninth house, and we see the Justice card there. Okay, so Justice card is people are basically going to see justice in action. Okay, this is no longer stuff that's hiding behind veils. This is no longer action being done in the shadows. All of that shadow work that has been done by us and by other agencies are actually going to become a little bit more transparent now, right? We're going to be seeing people basically, I would say these world leaders, basically scramble like rats, like cockroaches, okay? So basically seeing a lot of them lose their power. It's just the momentum of the year for 2026. Like I said, it's like an untamed horse that's been caught ablaze, and you can't control it, and it's just so powerful, it just smashes through everything, right? So that wild horse, right? You can't tame it. You can't try to calm it down. You can't say, "Hey, come on, take it easy, easy, big guy," right? Not gonna do that. It's gonna stomp right over you. Okay, so that is exactly what's taking place here. Is we're seeing the idea that a lot of particular types of industries are not favored this year. Okay, Bitcoin is not favored this year. Again, as I said, petro is not favored this year. A lot of luxury businesses and fashion businesses are not favored this year. Mainstream media is not in the alignment of this year either. So we're looking at many different forms of big industries. Again, big tech is not favored this year as well too. Insurance companies is not favored this year. Government is not favored this year. Okay, so basically they are debilitated for 2026. What does that mean? That means there's going to be a lot of big changes taking place. A lot of walls are going to get smashed. Okay, that wrecking ball is now going towards those particular industries that I'm saying and smashing them apart for them to be rebuilt later on into something better. So we're seeing that. And like I said, we are just entering 2026 right now. There's a lot more to see. There's a lot more that's going to take place here. So again, we're seeing the idea of communication, expression, everything that we've wanted, our manifestation coming together, and it's showing itself as justice. And of course, Sagittarius can represent good fortune. Okay, so with good fortune, it can also represent foreign travel, foreign aid, foreign shifting. So again, this is telling me that this is global. Okay, we're seeing countries all over the planet moving into a much more greater prosperity to come. Okay, this is not going to stick around. All of this misery is not going to stick around. It is going to be on the way out. But as I've said many times, the 2020s decade is a cleanup decade. Everything's being cleaned up. When you get into the 2030s, there's a lot more greater transformation that doesn't require so much aggression. It's like the fire is going to start to slow. It's going to start to become a little bit more smaller now, not like a blazing inferno. Okay, we're taking this blazing inferno and we're going to make it into a steady campfire rather than the idea of it being a blazing bonfire. Moving next on to the fourth house. Fourth house is Cancer, okay? And that is through the Queen of Pentacles. So this can represent property. This can represent money. This can represent, kind of like the homestead, land, right? So all of this is telling me that wealth is going to be coming back, okay? The nature of wealth is going to be reappearing itself. It has been debilitated for quite some time with every single person. So I'm not too sure if we're looking at universal income. I'm not too sure if, again, this is a deflation year. So we may start to see markets start to even themselves out right now. It is not only, again, a very aggressive year, but there's also hints and elements of healing. Okay. Now, next year, 2027, would be a little bit more of a healing year. Okay. It's a fire goat year, which means there's still some intensities, but there's a lot more containment, because when you look at the goat is more about compassion. The goat is more about protection. The goat is more about nurturing. The horse is just wildfire, right? It's just knocking things over. It's knocking things out of the way. It's breaking through walls, right? It's blazing a powerful trail, and you don't really know where the horse is going. It's like it's just kind of seeking its own path. It's not organized, right? It's basically chaotic. So this is why I say, and I've said this to viewers on my channel here, is that 2026 is not a rainbow year. Okay, this is something that we are looking at a living wrecking ball that is going to be knocking a lot of things over. Okay, but here we're looking at some big change pertaining to currency, some big change pertaining to the material realm, pertaining to finance. Okay, so finance, I feel, is going to shift, and this is again what's being said here with Capricorn. Capricorn is, again, about government. It's about status quo. It's about popularity. It's about status. Okay, so when we're looking at that, that's telling me there's some fundamental shifts going on. People aren't going to really want to pay the government anything anymore, right? I mean, just in Canada alone, the majority of Canadians aren't even paying their income taxes anymore. Right? I'd say at least 2/3. And this is why, again, that you look at the Canada Revenue Agency, and they're just basically getting bombarded and they're overwhelmed, because about 2/3 of the population of Canada aren't paying their income taxes and don't want to pay their income taxes and want nothing to do with paying their income taxes. And I'm sure maybe it's the same with the states, right? I don't know if it's 2/3 or what have you. I'm not an American, but I imagine it's pretty much close to the same. A lot of people not wanting to pay income tax. Well, of course not, because the IRS is not even legit. It's nothing but a Puerto Rican trust. So why am I paying some Puerto Rican trust taxes when it's not even a legit tax business? And CRA is basically the same thing. It's just, a bunch of ridiculousness, even in our own charter and even the American Constitution, the American, I would say even looking into the idea of revenue itself, is looking at it as always income tax has been voluntary. It's never been mandatory, right? So we've never been really following the true law about it actually being a voluntary service and not mandatory. So that really is the same between both the United States and Canada. And people are starting to educate themselves a lot more and realizing that these revenue services are scams. I want nothing to do with it. We're feeding criminals. Forget about it. That's why, again, in Canada, 2/3 of the people are not even paying income tax anymore. But again, I'm Canadian, so I'm telling the Canadian perspective of things. So again, with the sign of Capricorn here, like I said, this is telling me that money is going to be shifting. Okay, just get the feeling that money is going to be coming back to the people. There's going to be a lot of prosperity programs that are coming that are going to show themselves perhaps 2026, 2027. But I'm feeling like there is going to be a new benchmark in regards to finances. Now, as I've always said, is that there are financial systems. It is not a financial system, right? A lot of people keep talking about a quantum financial system and so forth. Well, guys, we don't even know what quantum means. Quantum is just one of those little buzzwords that are put there and saying, we don't know what this is, but we're going to put this word here to make it sound legitimate. So that's why, again, we're using quantum, right? They use it in science. They don't even know what they're really talking about. They'll just say, okay, it's quantum. Okay, what's quantum? I don't know. We're just calling it that because we don't have another name for it. So when you're calling it a quantum financial system, well, what is that? Okay. So again, this is where I'm saying it's about financial systems. Okay. So fiat currency is going to lose a lot of its drive. Gold is really going to be making a really big spike this year. Again, guys, I am not a financial expert. I am not a crypto expert or anything of that nature. But gold energetically is going to do very, very well this year, well into next year, probably within the next couple of years. Okay. Gold is going to spike big time. Silver won't do too bad, but gold is going to be much more prominent, okay? I would say that gold is going to be a lot more powerful than crypto is this year, okay? A lot of people want something physical. They want something visceral. They want something tangible. And no offense to crypto, but it's not tangible. It's not visceral. It's not physical. It's just something that's created through digital means, through digital platforms. We want something that's a little bit more tangible, right? If I'm holding this up, of course, it's not a gold coin, but if that's an example, right, where I'm holding this up here, I want the gold, right? I want the gold. I want the coin. I want something I can hold. I want something physical. I want something tangible, okay? That's going to be the drive for a lot of investors this year, okay, is they want gold. Silver will follow, but gold much more prominent, okay? And that could be what this is saying as well, too, is that we're probably going to see a lot more increase with gold this year, okay? If you guys have gold, I think you're going to do really well this year, okay? If you guys have gold within your household, within your storage, within your vaults, wherever it may be, I think you're going to have a really good year with that gold, okay? Let's move on now to the fifth house. The fifth house is, I'm trying to remember what the fifth house is now. I've drawn a blank. Okay, it's Leo. Leo, my apologies. Leo is the fifth house, okay? So Leo will often deal with strength. It will represent leadership. It'll represent counseling, all that, okay? A lot of things are changing, but people aren't seeing it because it is a subtle thing, right? It's kind of like we're seeing a bunch of noise here in front of the scenes, but behind the scenes, oh my God, so many things have been liberated, right? We're seeing the idea of money now starting to stabilize itself. We're going to see the idea of deflation taking place this year. We're seeing takedowns of all of these old cabals and cartels, but nobody's really seeing that, okay? And so again, It's that state of feeling miserable because you're expecting to have something appear right here. Come on, come into my frontal vision here. I want to see you, but it's all happening behind you at the same time. Okay, so again, this is like all the goodness that's happening behind the scenes, but we're not willing to look at it. We're still just in that state of suffering and hurt and feeling betrayed and feeling like the world's going down the toilet. Okay, the old world is going down the toilet. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you there. The old world is going down the drain, not the new world. The new world is coming together, and it is going to be very, very prosperous. But before that can happen, we have to let this old world get flushed down the toilet. That's what's happening. You cannot have the old and the new at the same time. You got to choose. Is it the old or is it the new? You can't have old new, right? And this is where people get stuck. They basically want to feel like some of the old stuff relating to the old world could work. It can't. It's like looking at rot and decay and trying to get the most out of that rot and decay as much as possible before it just completely and totally, falls into ash. It's not going to work. You have to let the rot and decay just completely decompose back into the earth. Stop trying to feed off the rot and decay of an old world. The old world is going to die. Yes. The old world is going to pass away. Yes. The old world is going to be no more. It is the end for it. Yes. Completely agree. And the new world is coming, and that's going to be incredibly better. Okay? So that's what we're seeing here, is that people have certain expectations of things, not getting what they feel they want, but in a way they are. It's just back here. Okay? Just like imagine if these cups are in the background of this person, and they're trying to say, hey, you have all of this. Don't you realize that? No, because I want this. But they don't realize what's happening. And again, this goes back into the earlier card here with Aries, where people are just utterly confused. They don't know what's happening. And I'm saying, guys, it's a complete and total takedown of the old world. And everything is going to fundamentally change. Financially, structurally through government, structurally through our military, structurally through industry, business. All of it is going to change. Education, transportation, energy, all of it is going to shift fundamentally. But again, it's just seeing every single stone being turned over. Now we go to the, with the fifth house here, that's Capricorn. Oh, sorry, not Capricorn. See, I'm losing it today. Fifth house, again, is Leo. And I'm looking at Capricorn here, that's why I'm saying that. Fifth house is Leo, and now it's aspecting together here with Aquarius, okay? So Aquarius, like I said, we are in the age of Aquarius right now, okay? And we have the King of Pentacles. So what does the King of Pentacles represent? Wealth, riches, material success. And the great thing about Aquarius is that is gains, okay? So here's another combination that's telling us this, right? We think that we're in the gutter. Right now, everything's being worked to bring the wealth back to people. Guys, we are going to have the sharing of the wealth of the planet come back to us. But what's happened is you've had these cartels and cabals hoarding the great majority of the wealth of the planet. And all of that is going to be apprehended and brought back into the public. We are going to have prosperity programs because there's a lot of these particular counter forces that want to see the world get rebuilt into something much better. Not polluting it, not draining it of every particular type of resource. There's going to be new innovations, and I've talked about this before. Jonas has talked about this before as well too. Is that a lot of these particular type of counterforce agencies will start giving a lot of this secret technology to universities, to institutions in certain ways, and saying, here's what we want you to start mass producing. Here's what we want you to kind of introduce as a new science and bring it into the world. And now we're looking at things like anti-gravity. Now we're looking at things with plasma technology relating to energy. Now we're looking at magnetic technology with energy, whatever it may be. We want you to build this out, right? Because it needs to flow in continuity with the collective. It can't just pop up like that overnight, okay? It needs to be a new discovery. A new discovery was happening. Well, basically what happens is they're talking to a lot of these university professors. They're talking to these institutional heads, and they're saying, here's what we want you guys to build, because we're now going to start introducing this into the collective consciousness. And now you have these institutions starting to work together with these breakthrough ideas based upon these kind of, mysterious agencies, representatives coming in and now handing them technology and saying, here you go, build this. Start making this happen. Start seeing it as a discovery. Because now comes anti-gravity. Now we're start seeing new forms of clean energy, abundant energy. I'm not going to say free energy, okay? But clean energy, abundant energy. That will be in the works. And so you basically look at what these universities are doing, what these other institutions are doing that are building these things, and a lot of it is not even their own idea. It's handed to them by some of these quote-unquote counterforce agencies. And then they're being asked to study it and to build it. And now within a few years, we start seeing these things start to roll out. That's how it's done. It's how it's been done for a long time. It's how we've had all these breakthroughs that have happened in such a very, very short amount of time. Do you think it's just a bunch of people that are just gathering in think tanks and they're just being able to discover these things? No. They are being handed the blueprints by these agencies. Here, go and develop these smartphones. Here, go and develop this technology here. The LEDs, right? Build them all together. And now we're going to start rolling them out and see how they start to shape culture. Okay? And it's going to continue. There's going to be bigger innovations that are going to be coming about. So that's really how it works. I'm giving you guys kind of the secrets of how this happens, how technology starts coming in, and how we're having this big innovative technological boom. It's not just by a bunch of people in a think tank. It's agencies talking to certain institutions with blueprints and schematics about these particular types of technology. Go ahead and create them. Go ahead and study them. Go ahead and roll them out when they're ready. And that's what happens. Whether it's tech companies, whether it's other institutions, whether it's universities, whatever it may be, there's a plethora of it. That's what's going to be taking place. So we're seeing, again, very, very big boom. We're seeing the whole idea. Even China right now is starting to green their deserts. Okay? China is already making an effort right now to green their deserts. Okay? And now we start seeing this technology, and every particular desert across the planet can now start to be reseeded and made green again. That is going to be a very, very big ambition for much of humanity as we start rolling out in the next few years. We're going to be able to green the deserts of the world. We are going to be able to clean up the entire oceans. We are going to be able to purify our air again. We are going to be able to make clean food, and that more and more countries are going to outlaw GMO. That's going to be burned to the ground. And now we're going to start moving much more into an organic flow. That's just a hint of what the new world represents, my friends. So there's a lot to look forward to. Okay. Now we're going to the 6th house, which is Virgo. Okay. And Virgo is all about labors, work, also deep investigation as well too. But it can also represent, like I said, just a lot of there's enemies in it as well too, or foes. But it's just one who basically gives and gives and gives. Someone who wants to give so much. One who is very, very selfless, right? So we look at here with Virgo, and we're again seeing the 6 of Pentacles. So again, we're seeing another money card. We're seeing more material wealth coming together. And that's in Virgo, okay? That's giving, that's giving, that's giving, which means there's probably going to be some, not just institutions, but like I said, we're looking at some prosperity programs. A lot of people are excited about Nasera and Gesera, okay? I can't say things like that. It's just I never really have aligned to that idea. But similar programs, yes, okay? Basically, the eradication of debt, okay? The eradication of debt in pretty much all forms. Credit card debt, student loans, home loans, etc. A lot of it is going to be eradicated, okay? And it's going to be coming through these particular programs. And I feel like this is going to be international, okay? We're looking at the complete and total expunging and eradication of debt because we're moving out of a debt-based system. That's why we're looking into decentralization. Decentralization has no debt. Centralized systems have debt. They need debt to survive. Not a decentralized system, though. It doesn't need debt. It has nothing to do with debt. That's telling me that debt is going to be expunged because we're looking into decentralized systems that can be running money, that can be running businesses, that could be running the ability to travel, that could be running the idea of assistance, support in many different ways, of jobs. Okay. I'm kind of keeping my stuff secret of what I'm building right now because a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now isn't so much of sessions. I'm actually building new businesses. Okay. And a lot of the businesses I'm building are basically complementary to decentralized models. So it's kind of a secret I'm giving away a little bit here. But nonetheless, that's what's taking place. Okay. So maybe I'll reveal a little bit more down the road, but I'm starting to build businesses right now, right? I'm not really working too much with clients. Here and there I am, but just my energies have moved and I want to build these business platforms for something that can be very, very powerful to help a lot of people out. So in the next little while, you may start to see what those business platforms are that I'm building right now. And I'm working with different types of things, right? It's different types of industries. It's not just metaphysical, it's metaphysical and non-metaphysical as well. Okay, and so again, with the sixth house here, which represents Virgo, that is aspecting with Pisces, okay? And Pisces here, we see the Seven of Wands, people standing up for themselves, okay? Now, Pisces can represent charity, it can represent compassion, but it can also represent, the big dream, the big idea, the big manifestation, okay? And we can see a manifestation coming into fruition here, which can represent the Seven of Wands, people standing up against oppression, people standing up against this rulership that is no longer going to survive. It is going to burn to the ground completely, okay? So people are standing up against that, the vision, the idea, the momentum of this is what the average person is going to be like. They say, nope, screw off, government. I'm not going to pay you anything. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be gypped anymore. I'm not going to be screwed over anymore. To hell with you. I will stand with my people and we're going to make change happen. And that's what 2026 represents for the people. Finally, going to the 13th card here, we see the Emperor, okay? So this is, again, how we're reacting to the whole situation, which means new change in leadership, new shift taking place, a new energy again. Emperor really represents that Aries, that fire, right? So it's the idea that there's like a new shift that's taking place, a new form of leadership that is taking place, okay? And because it's based on how the people are reacting. People are taking their power back, and that is a good representation of the Emperor, all right? So there you have it, everybody. That is the reading for the 2026 momentum. In conclusion, we are seeing, like I said, 2026 is a wrecking ball. There's a lot of signs here relating to money, relating to financial abundance, okay? There's a lot of a transformation here of people saying no to government, right? We're seeing the idea of the balance of power being affected here. We're again seeing the idea that people need to look all around them, not just keeping your head in one particular direction. Look around you, right? Dig deeper a little bit more and see greater change that's taking place. So this is overall a very, very positive reading. Humanity is going to prosper, okay? We are not going to falter, right? You are not going to see yourselves in shackles and chains. And that's what your beliefs are. Then your beliefs keep you in those shackles and chains. But from the collective perspective, we are seeing an incredible amount of shifting, of transformation taking place because this is a wrecking ball to a lot of the status quo this year. It's going to be very, very exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and move on now. So thank you, everybody, for joining me for the tarot spread. Now we'll go ahead and get into some readings with people. So like I said, if you do have a personal donation request, just for a single request, whether it's information or healing as well too, again, just single request healing as well too, if you please. Okay, that is available through donation-based readings or requests. So we got a few of them, so I'm going to go ahead and start off firstly with Solstice. Hi, Brad and Brienne. Well, Brienne's upstairs. She's doing her own work right now. So I had her here just the previous week. We had a great time. So I'll have her on again. Now, again, next week, I'll be bringing in Athena. I was thinking of doing it this week, but I thought, no, it's kind of more important to kind of look at the 2026 momentum for this week. And then next week, bring in Athena of the Delphi. And so that will be next week. Okay, so next week, I know I promised this week, but I said, no, 2026 momentum feels more stronger. Something I need to do right now. And then next week, Athena of the Delphi. Okay. So Solstice says, which month do you see my business finally commencing? And will it be successful and prosperous this year? Okay. Now, again, guys, what I'd recommend is that you're watching 2 videos of mine that are life-changing. Okay. The number 1 video that I recommend you start off first with is aligning the mind to personal freedom. Okay. Or how to align the mind to personal freedom. It's one of my new videos. Okay. That tells you a lot about getting into the substrata, about getting into the alpha, the theta, the delta, okay, and learning how to work together through those states to mold your reality. And then I go into deeper details with one of the second newest videos, which is the physical reality is not what we think, okay? Those 2 videos I would suggest you guys watch, okay? Watch the most, because that is giving you the teachings of not only working together to reshape your world, but working together with the power of true manifestation. Okay, and I'd like you guys to really look into that. So, Solstice, what I'm saying to you right now is just momentum, which means if you go in and you start doing a lot of this deeper manifestation work, all of this can change at the drop of a hat, which means anything that I say can fundamentally change, because I'm always encouraging you guys to work with the power of manifestation. Okay, so if I'm giving you a reading here and then you decide to go another way, it can be done, right? And it's very, very powerful. So let's look into your business idea, okay? So again, with your business finally commencing, and will it be successful and prosperous this year? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I still feel it'll be ups and downs, okay? I don't feel it'll be 100% successful and prosperous, okay? I feel that it has the opportunity for growth and expansion. I think it'll have some good times and it'll have some bad times. It'll kind of be like this. Okay. Now, as I said, all of this can change, and that's working together with the living law. That's working with manifestation. But if you're trying to run this thing on quote unquote autopilot, as I call it, it's going to be very up and down. Okay. So ultimately successful, not really. Okay. It'll have some successful hints, and then it'll go down again. And then it may try to rise up, and then it'll go down again. So this is why I say, guys, please don't run your life on autopilot, okay? And you focusing so much on the external world and trying to rely about what the external is trying to bring you without you summoning what you want to bring about, it's going to be chaotic, okay? This is not the world to create. The world to create is an imagination consciousness, okay? So again, please watch those 2 videos. But Solstice, I really can't give you a guarantee of great success, okay? Like I said, I feel that there's some success and there's going to be some downfall, okay? So like I said, I think there just needs to be a lot more tightening up, but it needs to be more in representation to your manifestation, right? See the big picture of what you want to do. Don't make it so small. Branch it out, make it broader. Let it be open to opportunities. Let it be something that many people can benefit from, right? Even if it's a niche market, even if it's people that may not be used to what you're doing, you're presenting it in the way that makes them curious and they may want to explore it, okay? But from what I'm getting here, it feels like there's just going to be some ups and downs, okay? But like I said, if you start doing the manifestation, everything I'm saying right here would be nullified, okay? You would be able to bring it up into a much more greater expansion, okay? And that lesson of expansion is being able to go to the tail end of manifestation. So you go into the substrata, okay? And here's a new tip that I'm offering people. It's not even mentioned in the videos, okay? The new tip is whatever is troubling you, work with it to neutralize it altogether, okay? If it's a person, look at that person until you're able to have a neutral perspective of them, which means surrender, not forgive, but surrender, okay? Which means if there's a person here who's narcissistic, who's egocentric, whatever it may be, okay? That's a mirror that we put on the face of that person. We need to take that mirror down, which means that person does not have to be narcissistic and egocentric with you. They are only narcissistic and egocentric with you based upon your perspective of reactions. When you pull that mirror off their face and you just look at them from a neutral perspective by going into complete and total surrender, you have done yourself a tremendous favor. Okay? Now that they're in a neutral perspective, we're going to put a new shining mirror on them. Love, compassion, understanding, gracefulness, joy, whatever it may be. That's what you're now seeing as this person. And now you're going to the tail end of this manifestation where this person can now feel like a really good friend to you, right? And now they're always there for you. They're loving, they're compassionate, they're understanding. Not because you've changed a person, because you can't change a person. You've changed your perspective of that person. And reality conforms to that. If I basically say, oh, this guy is an a-hole and he's a jerk and he's a moron, I don't want to have anything to do with him, then that's the mirror I've put upon them. And so now everything pertaining to that experience, because now that's buried in the subconscious, is going to be more and more of those types of entanglements. I need to neutralize myself. I need to neutralize everything that represents that person, which means make it neutral. Surrender. Don't forgive. Surrender. Okay? Forgiveness just doesn't work. Okay? And I know a lot of people say, oh, you got to forgive, you got to forgive. Guys, that's biblical stuff. That's religious stuff. Okay? It's not about forgiveness. It's about surrendering. It's about neutralizing. Okay? It's like if I'm going up to a person and maybe I haven't seen them in years and I'm all big about my forgiveness work. I say, yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I've done a lot of forgiveness work with you. Like, what does that mean? Well, you've treated me like garbage and stuff like that, but I forgave all of it, so it's okay. I forgive you for all of that. I'm like, huh? Excuse me? Right? It's almost like much more of an offense than anything that's actually prosperous. Okay? The forgiveness idea is a bait and switch. Okay? And it's much more of a waste of time than anything else. The key to this is surrendering. Right? Even when you look at the masters, even when Jesus was talking about, to his disciple about, forgiving his brother, all he would basically say to them is, take no thought. Take no thought means surrender. It does not mean forgive. Okay? So we're not saying, oh, forgive them, right? That's a bunch of religious mumbo jumbo. It is surrendering. Take no thought. Neutralize. Right? That's the key. So that's what you're doing, Solstice, right? You're working with that with business. You're working with that with people, is to neutralize everything. So this means, in that sense, start from the beginning. Clear everything up. I actually did this last night just with money for myself, right? I cleared out everything. Even though I have some good standing with money, I just wanted to completely, it's kind of like a neutralization nuke, right? You're just nuking and neutralizing everything, just psh, right? And you're basically going right down to the bottom, and this is just my experience. You go right down to the bottom where you feel like you're completely and totally penniless. You are broke. You have no money whatsoever. Your bank account is completely empty. Everything's taken away from you, and you're not reacting. You're okay with it, right? That's one of the ultimate practices. That's what I was doing last night. So if I didn't have a penny to my name, right, could I neutralize myself to be non-reactionary, to even being completely and totally broke? And I was going right into imagination consciousness, and breaking all of that down and saying, yes, I could. I felt completely neutral, even though I didn't feel like I had a penny to my name, through imagination consciousness. And now I neutralized it, and now I built it back up. I put a new shiny mirror on it, and now the abundance came. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You are making yourself completely impervious to both sides, whether you are wealthy or whether you are poor. Okay? A lot of us want to choose to be wealthy because we want to be able to do a lot of things that money can grant us in that way. But firstly, be okay with being poor. That's the liberation. And then, once you do that, you neutralize yourself to money, and now you put a new shining mirror, and now you can see yourself in an abundance with money. And at the same time, you're not too concerned about what the physical reality brings you, because now you are in harmony with imagination consciousness, and that's the true reality. Okay? So Solstice, that is what I would share with you. Okay? And I'm glad to hear you're doing all the practices. Great to hear. Thank you for that. So watch those 2 videos if you haven't already. That will really help you out, okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on. We have harmonizing 111 here. Hi, Brad. I've been practicing what you suggested. Can you do a healing on my brain? Can you see the main cause of this inflammation? Well, all inflammation is basically caused by toxicity, okay? So it's toxins in the brain. So that can be metals, that can be, artificiality, artificial gunk that we're putting into our body. There's a lot of different things, different types of waste, okay? And it basically forms mucus, okay? And that mucus becomes a hard resin. And that hard resin is basically what's causing a lot of complications within the brain as well too. So harmonizing 111, what I'll do right now is I'll just do a quick scan on you, and we'll just work on the brain area, okay? And see what I can discover through that. One moment. Okay, yeah, I can see that there is some inflammation there, so we're just going to work on putting out that fire altogether, okay? So just give me a few moments here. Okay, deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, so harmonizing 111, yes, there is some inflammation, especially right when you go much more deeper into the ear canal. Okay, what can often be mistaken for the buzzing of the ears, what we call commonly tinnitus in that sense, is inflammation, but also with inflammation is mucus. Okay, mucus is the culprit behind it, because mucus is called in to inflammatory sites. And mucus is kind of like the security foam of the body, right? It just goes in and it produces all of that thick wall of mucus to try and take care of the inflammation. But what happens is the mucus starts to harden, it starts to resin. The body is not able to reach those areas to try and disperse a lot of that out of the natural exit systems and channels out of the body. So what happens is that area remains behind and it becomes a solid resin. So what we're doing with charge, like again with this energy healing that I'm doing on you, is we're bringing the charge in there to basically loosen that mucus. Okay, now of course alkaline does a wonderful job. Energy healing, if done properly, can also do a very wonderful job as well too, because it's charging that area. When you have charge, that is what creates circulation. Okay, low charge equals poor circulation. High charge increases circulation. So that's what we're doing. We're putting a high charge in between the brain and the spine, okay, and the nervous system, helping to encourage natural circulation to take place, okay? And so that charge will remain with you for a period of 30 days. They're just very subtle charges. They're not intense or blown out of scale. That would be very painful. Very, very strong micro charges here, okay? And that's what's happening inside the brain to help clear out a lot of that debris, okay? Thank you very much, Harmonizing. You can always let me know how things are going. Maybe check in with me next week. Let me know how you're doing. Thank you so much. But main cause of inflammation, toxicity. Toxicity in many forms, okay? Bad food, metals, okay? Stagnancies within the body, inflammation, mucus, acidic waste. It's nasty stuff, right? That's why we're getting it out of the body. Okay, let's move on. This one here is from EUM142. Okay, one moment here. I'm just drawing out some more squares. EUM142 says, hi, Brad. Is Cuba on a verge of a Berlin Wall moment due to fuel shortages and flights cancellations from other countries like Canada, etc.? Okay, so looking at Cuba here, let's go ahead and take a look at that through the Akasha. It's going to lead to something like that. I can't say if it'll be a Berlin Wall moment, but it will be a breakthrough moment. Okay. So, yes, it's all part of these shortages that are taking place, because that's, even if you look at history, when you're seeing shortages, when you're seeing delays, when you're seeing disgruntled people, it is the verge of watching an old empire crumble and then something new rising from the ashes. That's what's happening with Cuba. Okay, so its current jefe, so to speak, is going to be going through some major, I guess you could say, major overhauls, major shifts. And again, it may represent the idea of old leadership leaving and new leadership coming together. Okay, so usually when you see these signs in countries, in nations, right, through cultures, where you're seeing everything just starting to pressurize, at some particular point, that pressure is going to shoot out, right? It can't just stay pressure forever. It is going to buckle, it is going to shoot out, it is going to release. When that release happens, that is the complete and total destabilization and destruction of an old empire. And then something new is going to rise from it. What I see with Cuba, what's coming to me right now, major decentralization. Okay, so I can't say that's happening right away, but a lot of major decentralization, a lot of industry opening up, which means once this pressure releases and this old aspect of society in Cuba buckles and falls apart, new innovations are going to come together. And I see Cuba in this very, very prosperous age. I would say it's probably even going to do better than like America would, right? It feels like there's a very prosperous age for Cuba coming in the aftermath of this buckling of pressure, because I'm seeing the idea of like new industry coming together. I'm seeing them like build new cities. I'm seeing like new technology in Cuba. I'm seeing like universities. A lot of these really incredible. It's a very pleasant place to be. You know, of course, Cuba itself is beautiful, but the infrastructure, right, the innovations that come for it is going to be really, really astounding, right? Like I'll feel like Cuba may be an area where a lot of I guess you say new world leaders will meet, right? Not the old ones, but the new ones. It feels like it's going to be a host for a lot of positive transformational summits and innovations for the future. Cuba is very, very bright, okay? But it needs to go through this pressure system right now. It needs to go through this pressure buckling and then releasing of the steam so that all this stuff can crumble, so that something new can come together, okay? But the new Cuba looks amazing, looks remarkable, okay? And that's only a few years away. So we're going to see something really incredible happening with Cuba, but the old crap has to go right now. It's kind of like just looking at a person who's sick and you're trying to flush out all the old garbage from their body. It's not a pleasant experience. It's horrendous. It's painful. But at some particular point, all of that stuff is going to get flushed out, and now that person can now start to rejuvenate themselves. They're eating well, they're exercising, they take care of themselves. And now a short time later, it's like you barely recognize them. They're so, they just feel so rejuvenated. Well, that's what's going to happen with Cuba. Okay? It's got to get this old crap out of its system. It's got to flush it all out. And then it's going to start to rejuvenate. Cuba, I feel, is going to be a big forefront for a lot of innovative technology, for, again, hosting different countries as well, too. Just being in this beautiful paradise, right? It's not going to be dictator-based anymore. It's going to be moving much more into decentralization. So it's going to be beautiful. Like I said, guys, when we look at the Earth in the next few years, I doubt many of you would be able to recognize it, okay? It's nothing like what we have right now. It is absolutely nothing like that. And many countries are going to transform like Cuba will, okay? We're not seeing dictators anymore. We're not seeing communists. We're not seeing socialists. We're not seeing any form of tyranny. There's no totalitarianism. There's no dystopia. All of that's being flushed out right now through the 2020s. When all that crap gets flushed out and we start moving into 2030s, a lot more rejuvenation is happening. The world is going to be rejuvenated. And we're just seeing little hints of it right now. But right now we're in the phase of kind of like giving our own society a gigantic enema. That's what's happening. It's not a pleasant experience, right? It's nasty, it's gross, it's dirty, it's disgusting, but that's what needs to happen. We're getting a complete and total colon cleansing of our systems right now. All that crap needs to go. And when it does, New beautiful times are ahead. All right. Thank you, EUM142. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I got the hiccups right now, so I'm trying not to hiccup in the mic. Okay, so this one is Joy Recovery Project. I've been struggling to start my coaching business, but I think I figured it out. I created a YouTube channel. What can I do to accelerate so I can quit my creativity crushing job faster? Okay, so let me just take a look at you right now here, Joy. Okay, so you want to know exactly what you want to do to accelerate it. Okay, well, that depends on your budget. Okay, so the thing is with YouTube channels in that sense, with social media, it can be very, very tricky. There's a lot more better ways to promote yourself, and that is forming personal connections with others, forming personal connections with groups, developing joint ventures with others. Make something that really stands out. Okay, so you got a coaching channel. That's great. Okay, I think you're saying you're starting your coaching business. But here's the thing, Joy. There's thousands of business coaches out there. There's thousands of personal coaches out there. You got to make something that really stands out, right? You got to make something that really feels personable to a person. Okay, and I'm telling you this as a person who's made a successful YouTube channel. Okay, you need to make something that stands out. You can't just keep saying the same stuff. You can't keep using the same stuff. It's great that you have a coaching practice, okay? But what are you giving other people that nobody else gives, okay? What are you doing for others that nobody else is willing to do? You know, maybe it's your personality, right? You may have such a joyful, loving personality, and I'm feeling that as I'm tuning into you, right? You have a very big heart, very loving personality. You need to make that shine, okay? There's thousands of coaches out there. What's unique about you? And you got to see that. And you got to present that, even if you only got, like, say, 100 subscribers on your channel, okay? You're making something so innovative, so powerful. You are really seeing that how you are kind of glowing on screen, right? You put a camera on you, and the camera loves you. You let your personality shine, okay? Maybe you wrote a small book, okay? Maybe you've done an e-course. Maybe you've done some guided meditation. Maybe you've created a PDF. Okay, that's great. But deliver your personality with it, because that's what people look for. They want that personality. They want that person to shine on screen. They want that person to be informative, educational, shining, encouraging. You start doing that and you start working together with others, you'll do pretty well, okay? I can't say it's going to be a burst this year, okay? But I feel like this is something that would basically require about a 2-year investment of your time. And I know that some people don't want to hear that, but that's how it is, okay? I've been running a YouTube channel here since 2011, okay? For about just over 15 years. And when I first started, it kind of started off slow. I was trying to do the lone wolf thing, right? Just trying to get, attention on this channel and so forth. But what made this channel, giving up to almost 74,000 subscribers right now, was from other people, was from joint ventures, right? So like when I'm talking to Dr. Michael Sala, right? When I had 2 interviews with him, and a lot of his people have come onto this channel, and they're watching me right now. Fantastic. It's not just him. I've done many different radio shows and podcasts. I've joint ventured with other people as well too, and that's what's helped to get my name out there, right? Because I started off with channeling Adronis. Well, there's a whole bunch of other channels on YouTube. Okay, I had to stand out. You got to stand out, right? And I feel like you have the personality to stand out. That's what you got to do, okay? You got to really find your niche and work with other people as well too, because now you're doing something great for them. If they have a large audience and they want to share something with you, do something very special for them. Maybe make them an offer, right? Maybe give them something. Maybe help them out with something, whatever it may be, okay? You got to mingle. That's the key to it, okay? That's what makes a successful YouTube channel. Not so much and say, hey guys, this is what I got, come see me. Not going to work, okay? Got to work with those. And I've had to tell Brianne this as well too. And Brianne's got over 17,000 views on, or 17,000 subscribers on her channel. And I've had to sit down with her as well too quite a few times, because she's thinking, I need to do this and I need to do that. And I said, no, honey, throw those out. Those aren't going to work. Here's what you need to do. Joint venture, collab. And now she collabs, and now she's getting a lot more attention, okay? So this is what I say from experience, right? You need to collaborate. You need to open yourself up. You need a joint venture, okay? I don't really need to do that nowadays because right now I'm happy kind of talking on my own, but sometimes I'll bring in Brienne and so forth, because a lot of my energy is focusing in different directions right now. I'm still going to be doing my weekly webcast here, of course, before all of you, but a lot of my energies are focusing on other things right now. Things have changed, but in my early years, that's what I was doing, a lot of joint venturing and a lot of collaboration. Okay, thank you, Joy. Let's go ahead and move on to ZMAC888. Hi, Brad. Will XRP recover or continue crashing with Bitcoin? It is better to sell now and buy back later. Yeah. Let's take a look at XRP right now. Okay. It's going to bounce back. Okay. A lot of the stuff is going to bounce back. But like I said, it's as I've said, Ethereum is the one that really is going to shine brightly this year. Okay. XRP, as I said, it may have a little bit of rough tides in 2026. But as you start going in 2027, 2028, it'll make a comeback. Absolutely. 2026 just isn't the best year for XRP. I don't see XRP as drowning, but it got hit pretty hard, right? But it's going to recover. XRP has a lot of promise to it. It has a lot of future. Bitcoin is going to get its ass kicked, okay? And a lot of different coins that associate with Bitcoin are going to get their asses kicked as well too. It's still, again, that shaky time because Bitcoin is kind of like the forefront of cryptocurrency, and a lot of other coins want to associate with them in some way. And if there's that association, then they're going to get hit rock hard too as well. But XRP, from what I can see here, from what I just tuned into, it's going to get better. It's just not this year, right? It might start to build itself up a little bit and then may start to cave a little bit and then going up and caving as well too, right? So 2026 for Bitcoin is horrendous. It's horrible, okay? But there's going to be other coins that thrive. And like I said, it's Ethereum. Ethereum is the one that is going to thrive this year. So there's even another one, I think it's called Ethereum liquid assets, or whatever it's called, liquid stakes. There's another coin. That one's actually doing really well. And that's branched with Ethereum, right? Liquid asset or liquid stake. I can't remember the full name of it. Ethereum liquid asset or liquid stake, one of those two. But it's doing very well, okay? But yeah, I mean, Ethereum really is going to be the one that's going to come on top this year. And of course, if there's other coins that have that similar yearly energy as Ethereum, they're going to do well, okay? But cryptocurrency basically was built upon Bitcoin, right? And so, like I said, there's a lot of infrastructure surrounding Bitcoin with cryptocurrency. And it's like these big, gigantic earthquake tremors with Bitcoin this year in 2026. Because again, like I said, it's a rat, right? It's a rat year. It's born in a rat year. It was founded in a rat year, and this is a horse year, okay? Rat and horse. I don't really agree with the idea of calling them enemy years, okay? They're not enemy years. They're opposite years, okay? And that's what I would refer to them. They opposite aspect each other, because when you learn about what your opposite is trying to teach you, you will not get hammered by it. Okay, and this is things that I've noticed because me being a goat in Chinese astrology, the quote-unquote enemy would be the ox. And my last ox year was 2021. 2021 with me was actually pretty much fine. It was a COVID time, of course, but nothing really delivered a blow to me. There were no blows delivered to me because I've learned to work and adapt with opposites, right? So again, there are some particular numerologists or astrologists that will refer to enemy years. I would not agree in calling them enemy years. Mirror years or opposite years, yes, or opposite signs or mirror signs, because all they're really trying to teach you is to let go of something, right? Based upon their unique way of doing things. Once you learn from that, you're not going to be affected by those particular years that come up, okay? So altogether, XRP, I think it's going to recover quite well. It's still going to be a game player. But like I said, this is why I've said even before, I was saying XRP is going to be great later. Because people were like, well, what about 2026? Is XRP going to be good? I'm like, no, it's going to be great later on. 2027, a little bit of 2027, but mainly 2028. It's going to be really good, okay? But 2026, not really, no. I think it's going to have some flux. And here we go. We're seeing some flux here. So it's not going to drown. It's not going to be thrown out of the picture. XRP has so much promise to it. Okay, so it's going to survive, but it's just not the year for it right now. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So like I said, Ethereum is 2026. Simple as that. Okay. Let me take a glass of water here for a second. Okay, Martine here has a very interesting donation-based question for Adronis. If Adronis can tell us the difference between the Earth and the world. It's a really good question. No one's asked me that before, so very good. Thank you for the sharpness, Martine. I appreciate it. Yes, I will bring Adronis in and he can talk about that. Here we go. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here at this time. We bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. We thank you very much to Martine for the question of what is the difference between the earth and the world. One is a mother, the other is a plane. One is a mother and the other is a plane. So let's take a look at the mother first. When you are looking at the mother, it is the nurturer of life. It is the creator of life on this planet. It is what brings about that nourishment to all life upon this planet. It is where she enables the ability of balance to form. She does not take sides with her creations. She does not take sides with her children. She loves her children, but she allows the children to be themselves. This again is why the mother in that sense is not stepping up whenever humanity in that sense is going down a very, very unsettling path, and she doesn't just come up and say, hey, stop it. She doesn't do that. She allows the balance of life to take place. When things are falling out of balance, then of course the ecosystem that represents Mother Nature will work to bring it back into balance. But what she is about is equilibrium. So again, that is the mother working together in nurturing, nourishing the balance of life upon her. When you are looking at the world, you are looking at a plane of existence. You are looking as what many of you may refer to as dimension. You are looking at that which many of you may term as density. You may look at that which many of you refer to as a frame set. So the nature of a world would represent the plane. So we could even look at your entire universe and call it a world, because it represents a particular plane of existence. We can also say higher world or lower world, and this too represents planes. So when you're moving up into the higher world, you could be moving into something of a much more lighter density and a different frame set. So the nature of the world would represent much more of a plane of existence or planes of existence based upon the rhetoric that you wish to utilize it in that form. So the world would represent the idea of the frame set, of the dimension, of the density, of the plane, and of the realm to which you are existing within. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. Thank you very much, Martine. Again, that was a great question. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, I have one here from, whoops, let me just go back up again. I have here from Rince Kessel Ververdo 7721. Sorry if I can't pronounce your name right. Rinske, is it? 7721, okay. Okay, I'm seeing that your comment is down here. Hi, Brad. Can you look into the phlegm in my sinus that we tried to release with homeopathy since June last year, and now with bioresonance as well? It comes up when I lay down, especially in the night. Okay. So yes, with phlegm in that sense, it's sinus based. Okay. Whenever we have phlegm, there's that difference between phlegm and mucus, right? Mucus will often be found in the lungs. Phlegm again is still just a type of mucus, right? So we could say that all phlegm is mucus, but not all mucus is phlegm. Okay. Phlegm is just a different type of mucus, but it's really just mucus overall. We have different mucus types throughout the body. Okay. So when we're looking into the idea of it being kept in the sinuses where there's a lot of phlegm building, okay, then I will go ahead and take a look at that and see what can be done there. All right, 1 minute. And I'll refer to you as Rinske. Rinske. Okay, here we go. Okay, so just giving it a scan right now. We're seeing quite a bit of inflammation in the sinuses, mucus in the sinus membrane as well too. Okay, so we're just going to work to flush a lot of that out. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, feels good. All right. So yeah, there was a lot of inflammation that was caught up within your sinuses. Okay. So I'm not too sure if there's been any particular types of substances that's been, inhaled or anything of that nature, aerosols or anything of that nature, but there was a lot of inflammation within your sinuses, and that's why the phlegm kept going. Okay, and of course I always encourage things like homeopathy and so forth, but there's just times where we have to kind of get innovative and we have to allow ourselves to expand a little bit more beyond the systems that we're used to. And so again, this is where I would suggest. Now, again, I've talked about another healing method in the past that I've suggested to many people on this channel, and that's called the white light breath. Okay, so that's where you're breathing in the white light and you're just filling the sinuses with that white light as you inhale, and then just hold as long as you feel you can. All right, not straining yourself horribly, but give yourself a retention of breath for as long as you feel you can, and then you're exhaling through the mouth. And when you're exhaling through the mouth, it's like you're seeing that black mist. That black mist is coming out and it's just going into the ether. Okay, as you're exhaling that black mist and you're just sending it to the ether is absorbing it. All of that black mist represents that inflammation, that mucus, that stagnancy, that toxicity. Okay, so again, white light fills the membrane. Hold. Okay, and as you're holding, it's like you're feeling that charge just starting to ingrain into the sinuses. Okay, and then as you exhale very slowly, like you're seeing a black mist coming out of you and it's being absorbed into the light. Okay, absorbed into the ether. Okay, and just keep doing that as well too. That would be a good suggestion because that is also bringing in charge for yourself. Okay, thank you very much for your request. All right, let's go on here. We have another one here from Katie. Katie says, trying to find my purpose, retired and bored, trying to find motivation and joy, any guidance appreciated. So here's something I have to share with everybody, guys, and it's never my intention to do this. I don't give advice, okay? What I really do is I give guidance, yes, but I give guidance to encourage you to explore yourself, okay? If I'm bored, that means I've outgrown something, but I don't know how to get past it. I've outgrown an old tendency in my life, but I don't know how to step beyond it. And this is why we have to set goals, okay? The nature of purpose itself is a goal set, okay? To have a purpose is to have a goal, okay? So this is where we need to spend some time recollecting, right? So I may look at my home and say, how's my home? I may look at my family and say, am I happy with my family? I may look at friends and say, am I looking to bring new friends in my life? I may look at the world and say, do I want to travel? Okay. So like I said, if you're retired and bored, it's like I said, you've let go of something, but you don't know how to step past that thing that you've let go of, right? And also at the same time, is even though you've stepped past it, there's still some of these dry cords that are still hanging on to you. And it's kind of like a ankle weight, right? It's like those things that prisoners get snapped to their ankles, and they're dragging that ankle weight ball around with them. That's what I feel you're still doing. You've dried up a lot of the old stuff, but you still have this chain attached to you, right? And it's a matter of being able just to kind of finish the job and cut the cord, cut the chain, right? So finding your purpose isn't really the answer to life, okay? Here's the thing when we look at a goal. When we look at a goal, it's great that you have one, and I encourage everybody to go for their goals. But what you're doing is when you have a goal, the first thing you should actually be looking at is not the goal itself, but the anti-goals towards it, okay? You're learning to clear out the anti-goals to your goal. So what that means is I need to get a fresh perspective. I need to look at my life as it is. How's my relationship with my family, with my friends? How's my relationship with things, right? Is there anything that I want to improve? Is there something that I may want to do? Okay. So you need to give yourself kind of a 360-degree perspective on your inner circle, right? Seeing how it's doing. You already know what you want to do, but you've been too distracted by other things, thinking that those things need priority based on something that I've really had a joy and interest with, right? Katie, if I'm taking a look at you right now, I get this feeling of fascination pertaining to like exhibits, museums, looking at history, okay? Looking at how the continuity of mankind comes together, okay? Because the first thing that comes in is museums, exhibits, history, okay? Broadening yourself with deeper education, okay? That's coming together. Being able to see exactly how you look into, you may want to look into your ancestry at the same time, okay? These are some things that are coming together. But like I said, you got to kind of look at your 360-degree circle here and see exactly what is causing a lot of lack and cutting it away. Because when I see a person who says, I'm bored, you're not actually bored, okay? You're winded down from an old situation that has become dried up. And there's those old cords that are attaching to you. And you're not letting those cords get cut. And you got to cut those cords. Boredom is just a side effect in that sense of defeat. Okay? You're defeated. You feel dried up. You feel like there's just been so much defeated and depleted. Feeling like there's just a lot of energy that's been sucked out of you from something you once did. And you feel like you're getting over it, but not really. It's just old, dry cords that are still attached to you, okay? And they need to be cut away. So maybe look at the old job, right? If the old job was debilitating to you, then that's something we need to look into, right? I'm going to neutralize it, okay? So this is really what I suggest to everybody, is that whatever it is that you're going through, neutralize that situation, okay? Look at it. Now it may be horrible. Now it may be despicable, gross, okay, but I want you to still look at it, okay? I'm not telling you to put it right in your face, but I'm telling you to look at it just like you were to look at it through a mirror or a crystal ball. And I want you to look at it, and I want you just to take away all meaning pertaining to that situation. Take it all away. Surrender. Take no thought, right? And you're seeing all of that start to neutralize. Neutralize, surrender, take no thought. And then you'll notice as you continue to look at it that it really has no hold on you anymore. Very, very good. So now, if I really have no interest in trying to revive that, I'm just going to let it go. Because I have no interest in reviving it or anything of that nature, I give it to the ether. And now I'm going to look at the opposite of what I was going through, and I'm going to transform that. If I was working for the government, well, then maybe I'm going to start working with the community. Maybe I'm going to start doing some gardening. Maybe I'll volunteer at the museum, whatever it may be, okay? And I'm going to start volunteering. I'm going to start working with community. I'm going to start meeting other people. I want to start meeting their perspectives. I want to see exactly what they're all about, and maybe I get inspired by it. That's a great opposite. And now I'm fueling that. I'm going to the tail end of manifestation. I'm seeing the visualization, affirmation, feeling, familiarity, alignment, the Vafa. Okay? And then I bring all of that forward, and I'm in that feeling, I'm in that familiarity of this new thing that's exciting to me, okay? But I'm not getting excited about it in manifestation. That's the key. I'm being content about my manifestations. I'm not being excited about them. Because I'm looking at the tail end of the manifestation, which means all that exciting stuff has already happened. And I'm at the tail end of the manifestation. And I'm content, right? That's the tail end. That's the feeling we want. We want complete and total contentment of everything that has already happened through the manifestation. And then I bring it into alignment. I bring it into my heart. I own it. I claim it. And now I go into the state of being with it. And now through that state of being, I say, it is finished, and I abide. Amen. That's it. And now you have that feeling of that sensation of what that was, and you're constantly playing out the feeling. You are being the state of being pertaining to that opposite that you prefer to follow, that you want to bring into your life, with your manifestation state of being fulfilled. Okay? So I'd like you to work on that, but that's what I can share with you about that. Okay? Thank you. All right, moving on. Okay, this one here is from Medvedic. Again, I have always a problem with your name here. Okay. What is the strongest product for healing on eShop? I don't know what you're asking. The strongest product for healing on eShop. I don't even know what eShop is. So, sorry, Medvedic, you got to give me a little bit specificity here because I don't know what you're talking about. An eShop. There's thousands of eShops all over the place, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, you have to give me a little bit more. Oh, on my eShop. Okay, on okay, are you referring to AetherX? Okay, that's not fair for me to say. Okay, because all of these things that I've created on AetherX, I've intended them to be extremely powerful. Okay, and so that can be anything. That can be the cards. That can be the beds. Okay, that can be the blankets. That can be the rejuvenation wall arrays. That can be radiate. Okay, you're asking the wrong guy. Okay, I'm not going to say what's the most powerful one, because if there was a most powerful one, everybody, that's what I'd be promoting first and foremost. They're all powerful. Okay, you guys have to decide what's most powerful for you when you're trying them. Okay, a lot of people have come to me, and when I first launched AetherX, and I had the body deck and the mind deck and the energy deck, as well as the prana beds, people have told me that they've reversed their diabetes. People have told me that they've shrunken tumors. People have told me that they've completely cleared up their back problems. Okay, so it's not a real legit question about what's the strongest. It's more about what's the strongest for you. Okay, because some people will swear by the mind deck or the energy deck or the body deck. Some people will swear by radiate. Some people will swear by the prana bed or the Taurus bed. Even the new bed that I have out right now, right, the source bed, people will swear by that. Okay, it's different for everybody because it's based upon your own unique calibration. There is no strongest product. There's a strong product for you, but not for everybody, okay? It all varies. That's just how we work. We're all built and we're wired differently. And certain products do certain things. That's why I've had to build a lot of different products. If it was just one product and everybody feels better, well, my goodness, I might as well give us the entire planet. But it doesn't work that way. It's just everybody has their own, what they consider to be the strongest product. You have to experiment, right? And I'm not the guy to tell you what's the strongest product because they're all special to me. They're like my children, right? So you can see how that's kind of an unfair question. I can't really give you an answer for that. It's based on what you feel, all right? Let's go ahead and move on. Heather Wang says, I've had an online business for almost 2 decades. I feel quite worn out from all the work. Should I hire employees to expand my company? I'm not sure what to do. Okay. So basically my feeling would be take a break. Okay. Take a few days to yourself. And again, I'm not trying to influence you in that way. But if you're feeling like if you're quite worn out from all the work, okay, this just means that you need to take a break. Okay. So maybe you can have somebody who can cover for you. But really what this time means is that you need to take a few days and you need to decide exactly what is the future for your business. Now, if I'm looking at your business, if I'm tuning into the Akasha with Heather's business here for 20 years, okay, it's still going to do well. I still feel it's going to be lucrative. Okay, I don't think you need to change the business. I think the business is still going to do pretty well. Okay, but you need help. Okay, and so you want some people to cover for you, which means that it's time for you to not take on so much of a stewardship role. Try to lessen it a little bit more. But right now, I would say take a week or two just to relax. Hand this off to other people, right? If you have a staff, if you have contractors, whatever it may be, give some time to let people take care of this for you while you recover, okay? A prosperous business does not involve you running yourself into the ground. And believe me, I've had personal experience with that as well too, right? Where I basically felt that I had to be the steward for this and I needed to run it. Nobody else can run it. And that was the old me, right? And I threw that old me away. And I hired contractors, right? And contractors are taking care of things for me, right? Where I'm not having to do that. So that's what I've done. I've hired contractors for you. Maybe you're hiring staff or employees just to kind of cover the bases for you while you take some time and rejuvenate, right? And align yourself better. But as far as your business goes, I can see it doing quite well, okay? So the business, I think, will still do very, very good, but it's just a matter of you catching your breath. Get help when you know you need help, right? Don't try to take it all on yourself because you're just going to exhaust yourself, and that's going to affect the business. Have people to help you, okay? That would be my suggestion. Okay, Zachary England says, Hi, Brad. I've been trying to reschedule our private session on my account on your site. Can you please email me about this, Zachary? You don't need to leave a donation for this. For something like that, okay? Guys, you email me. Go to wisdomtransmissions.com and contact me, okay? Or email me at bradjohnson79@gmail.com. You do not need to leave a donation for something like that, okay? Please don't do that. You can email me for free. That's not a problem, okay? bradjohnson79@gmail.com. If I don't get around to you, I'm sorry. I got a lot of people emailing me all the time, okay? So I try to get to them when I can. But if you don't hear from me, maybe contact me on Telegram, okay? I am on Telegram as well too. So you can always try out there. I'm also on Facebook as well too. Believe me, there's better ways of getting hold of me than having to spend $5 to talk to me on a platform like this, okay? So please contact me, Zachary, at bradjohnson79@gmail.com, okay? Crystal Princess says, my boyfriend has an aortic dissection and aneurysm in his artery from his head to his chest. Can you do a healing or some guidance on how to heal it? Okay, so aortic dissection and aneurysm in his artery from his heart to his chest. Okay, so yeah, we can work on that. It's not a problem. Okay, so let me go ahead and tune. I didn't get your boyfriend's name, but I'll just refer to him as Crystal Princess's boyfriend. Okay, that should be fine. And we'll work on this. So again, aortic disconnection or dissection from his artery to his heart to his chest. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that now. It almost kind of feels like a rupture in ways, okay? Now, it is repairable in that sense, but he needs to be a little bit more easier with the type of food that he's eating, okay? Based on the particular type of food, maybe that's hard to digest, he should try to ease up on that a little bit more, okay? So that's very important for him to know. So again, let's work together with the aneurysm, the aortic dissection of aneurysm in his artery, okay? So we're just going to work with the entire heart here. And then we're going to work to tracing up the arteries, the valves, okay? Very important, everybody, your heart is not a pump, okay? Your heart is a vortex generator, okay? It's not a pump. The only pump in your body are the lungs. Your heart's not a pump, okay? It's very important to understand. It's a vortex generator. It's toroidal in nature, okay? So that's, again, what's creating not pumping blood, but producing blood plasma through toroidal science. That's what your heart does. It doesn't pump blood. It creates blood plasma. Okay, very important for you guys to know that. All right, so let me just go ahead and tune into the heart, into the artery, into the valve. Okay, deep breath in, deep breath out, okay? So basically, like I said, the heart is a toroidal generator, okay? It's a torus engine. That's the nature of it, okay? That's exactly why we have a field coming from the heart. A pump can't have that, right? A torus generator has that, a vortex generator, okay? That's the nature of the heart. It's responsible for your blood plasma, okay? If we learn terrain body, this is exactly what they teach you. They will tell you, first off, heart's not a pump. When you look at the geometry of a heart, does it really look like a pump? Mm-mm. It's actually shaped in the field of a truncated torus. Lungs are a pump. Okay? The heart is not. So, understanding that, we're working together and, again, ensuring the blood plasma within our body is very healthy, okay? Because that's kind of like the layer that's working with all cells, that's working with everything. It brings the equilibrium and health of the body together. So when there's an artery problem here, then all I'm doing is I'm just putting a field around it and then just strengthening it with a lot more charge, okay? To help with any particular type of rupture or harm that's happened through that. And I'm just cleaning away a lot of plaque, tar, in the heart, which again is mucus, and liquefying that and letting it leave through the body, and then again just giving a stronger charge to the areas of the heart that have been affected by this, okay, and encouraging natural healing, okay? Thank you very much for your request. All right, how are we time? Okay, guys, we are out of time. So again, I'm like 15 minutes over today. So my apologies, everything runs very, very fast, but thank you all for your donation-based questions today. That was great. Next week, I'll be back, and next week we will definitely be doing the empathic interfacing with Athena of the Delphi. Okay, so again, guys, I'm running a little bit over here today. I do have to wrap up. Thank you for joining me. Talk to you all next week. Namaskar. May it be well with you. Bye for now.